Hi everyone, today's video is a video I've seen a lot of people do, and it's a video I have honestly been too scared to make, but I decided to just go for it. And that is a 5-star prediction video. If you guys have watched my reviews before, you probably know that I actually don't give star reviews on YouTube, and I've made a couple of videos about that. I'll link to the most recent one about why I don't rate books on YouTube. I do kind of have an idea of what a 5-star book is for me, and of course I do rate over on Goodreads because it's kind of weird not to. I've noticed that some people give 5 stars to any book they really like. For me, a 5-star book is something that comes along maybe a couple of times a year at most. It's a book that's going to be a lifetime favorite, at least as far as I can tell. A book that really has a huge impact on me. It doesn't have to be necessarily what I think is a perfect book, but it has to be a book I just connect to really, really powerfully, a book I can't stop thinking about, a book I either reread immediately as soon as I finish, or a book I at least have the urge to do that for. So today I'm going to be bold. I am going to do a few 5-star predictions for books that I'd like to read. I have 4 of these that are books that are already out, and then another 3 that are upcoming releases. So, we can always check in at the end of the year and see how I did on these. So I know The Long Price Quartet by Daniel Abraham is a series I've been talking about wanting to read forever. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I'm planning to get to it pretty soon. I just have too much on my TBR, right? Same problem as the rest of the world. But it's a series that I'm really excited to try, and I've heard some really great things about it. Some people have recommended it to me really highly, and it just seems like it's going to be really interesting. I honestly still don't know all that much about it. I don't really know anything about the setting or plot, but I do want to share this paragraph I took from a review by Joe Walton, who's an author and reviewer, because other than the praise that I've heard for this series from people I follow on BookTube, I really liked this review, and it made me really excited to read the book. She wrote, "These are books about love and death and power, about gender and cultural expectations, about parenting and fertility, about growing up and growing old. The more I read them, the better I like them, and I liked them a lot the first time. They have wonderful, complex characters, and while each book is a complete story, when you read all 4 together, they make a continuing thing that is more than the sum of its parts." The other thing she says in this review, which I'll link to, which I thought was really interesting, is that apparently each book in the quartet is set 15 years apart, so you get like the complete lifespan of characters in a way that she says she can't really think of any other series that do that. So with the praise I've heard from other people and with this review from Joe Walton, I just think this series sounds super interesting, even though I don't really know anything about it. Yeah, and when I look at the cover copy for this bind-up of the entire series, it just says, "In a world of ancient empires and immortal magics, one man stands at the crossroads of history." Doesn't get more generic than that. But I feel like this is going to be a really interesting and unique series, so this is the first on my 5-star prediction list. Next, we have The Mask of Mirrors by what's the pen name? M.A. Carrick. This is a collaboration between an author duo, Marie Brennan and Alec Helms. I've read something by Marie Brennan before, which I really liked. I don't know anything about the other author, but I actually did something really unusual. I heard so much praise for this book that I actually ordered a copy without reading it first. And I buy books pretty rarely these days. I mean, I buy a decent number of books, I guess, but I get a lot of them used. I don't order a lot of books full price new that I haven't read yet that are by an author or a series that I'm not already following. So most of what I buy new usually is just highly anticipated sequels or books by favorite authors. But I just heard so much praise for this book that I just I had a really good feeling about it, and I was excited to read it, and I didn't want to wait from the library, so I ordered it. This is the first book in the Rook and Rose series. The main character is a con artist, which seems a little cliche and could go either way, but hey, it really worked for the Daevabad trilogy. What I've heard about this so far is just a lot of really complicated politics and detailed world building and just like a very dense, substantial book, which I'm really looking forward to. So I have a really good feeling about this one as well. I've heard so much good stuff about it, and hopefully it will live up to that 5-star prediction. Those are actually the only 2 books on this list that I own. The other 2 that are out that I'm going to mention I don't own, and then of course there are 3 more, like I said, that are upcoming releases. So the next one I'll mention, which is also a series, is the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. I think this is something that a lot of you have probably heard of. It starts off with, I think, 4 novellas, and then she has 1 novel out and maybe another one coming out soon. I think I got that right. What I know about this series is that there's an AI construct that has basically overridden its programming and has developed human emotions. I know it's supposed to be kind of darkly humorous, and I've had a lot of people recommend it to me and say they thought I would like it. From what I've heard about it, it sounds like the kind of thing that I would really enjoy. I like that kind of dark, witty humor, which it seems like it's going to have. I know a lot of people also say just the character of Murderbot is just really, really great. So I'm looking forward to trying this. The main thing that has stopped me so far, other than just the length of my TBR in general, is that I am not really a novella reader, and that's something I would like to change. It seems like a lot more people now are doing this thing where they write a few novellas to kind of get into a world or a series and then go to full-length novels. It's just, I've always stayed away from short fiction overall, but I think there's a lot of exciting stuff being done in novellas these days, so I would actually like to change that, but that's probably the main reason I haven't read Murderbot yet. But it's definitely one that has been on my radar for a while, and I have the feeling it's going to be my kind of thing. The last book that's already out that I'll mention on this list is The House in the Cerulean. Wow, I've never said that word out loud before. Cerulean. Cerulean. So yeah, The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. This seems to be kind of a feel-good fantasy book. I haven't heard anyone say anything bad about this book. It seems like it has been pretty universally loved. I think it's about magical children and kind of a found family, warm and fuzzy kind of situation. I definitely have those moods, especially lately, where I really want a feel-good book, and this is one I've definitely been meaning to read. I have the feeling that I will really like it, at least if I read it in the right frame of mind, but it also could be a huge misfire, we'll find out, but this is definitely one that I'm expecting to really love. Finally, I just want to mention a few upcoming releases for 2021 that I am expecting that I will love. I did do a 2021 anticipated releases video. I've been researching new releases that aren't sequels a lot more recently. That's not going to be this list, but I'm thinking I'll probably make a video sometime soon about this to sort of profile a few more books coming out maybe in the spring that I'm looking forward to. Not that I need more on my TBR, honestly. But a couple of these I just didn't mention on my 2021 anticipated releases because I just wasn't fully caught up on the series when I made that video. So the first one is The Fall of Babel by Josiah Bancroft. This is the last one in the Books of Babel, the Cerulean series. Honestly, the first three were all incredible. I don't know if book 1 or book 3 was my favorite. Book 2 was also great. So with the track record that Josiah Bancroft is coming into this final book with, unless he really, really, really messes up, I think book 4, I expect it to be amazing. Hopefully my expectations aren't too high, but I was really nervous about going on to book 2 after book 1 because I was worried about being let down. And so far, book 2 and book 3 were the furthest thing from a letdown. So I have a good feeling about book 4. I think it's pretty safe to put this on a 5-star prediction. Next, we have Witness for the Dead by Katherine Addison. This is kind of a follow-up to The Goblin Emperor, which was published quite a few years ago at this point. The Goblin Emperor was one of my favorite books of last year. It very quickly earned itself a place on my favorite of all time list. It's just a book that is really, really special to me. I think it's a unique book. I am definitely a little bit scared that a follow-up just will, I don't think it'll dampen my love for the original, but it might not live up to it. Katherine Addison did do a book last year, The Angel of the Crows, which was not really entirely my cup of tea. It was basically a published Sherlock Holmes fanfiction, it was fine. Like, her writing was good, but it wasn't really what I was looking for from her. But hopefully what I was looking for from her will be The Witness for the Dead. It follows a minor character, sort of a side character from The Goblin Emperor. I don't know too much about the plot or what it's going to be about, but I really hope that this will be a wonderful addition to the Goblin Emperor canon and not another, oh, I wish she'd left that alone. I do think The Goblin Emperor is kind of a unique book. Definitely the style, the way it's written, it's quite different than most fantasy in a good way, but I'm wondering if it was kind of a one-hit wonder, and I guess this book will kind of be when we find out. But I want to be optimistic about it, so that's why I'm putting this on my 5-star prediction list, because it feels like it should be great. The last book I'll mention is The Veiled Throne by Ken Liu. This is the 3rd book in the Dandelion Dynasty series. I just finished book 2, The Wall of Storms. I listened to it on audiobook, which is great, but I'm the world's slowest audiobook listener, and the book was kind of intense, so it took me, not kidding, a couple of months because it's, I think, an 800-page book. But it was an incredible book. I really enjoyed The Grace of Kings, which was book 1. Grace of Kings really grew on me as I read it, and then even after I finished, and then The Wall of Storms was just incredible. I think this series has kind of been a sleeper hit for me. I didn't quite appreciate it as I started reading it, and now I'm just, especially after book 2, I'm totally blown away by it. I made my husband start listening to The Grace of Kings, and he's really enjoying it so far. So I'm kind of planning to maybe reread the first 2 books physically, since I listened to them on audiobook before the release of book 3, and maybe I'll do some more content, some reviews about the series, because I've seen a few more people picking it up recently, but I think this is a series that so deserves more attention in general and on BookTube. But I'm really, really looking forward to book 3. Book 2 just took book 1 and just blew all of my expectations away in a really, really good way. So I have no idea, especially the way book 2 ended, I have no idea what to expect in book 3. I think if it really goes in a different direction again, like anything's possible, who knows? But just based on Ken Liu's track record from book 1 to book 2, I feel pretty excited and confident about book 3. It has taken him a lot of years to finish this book, so hopefully that's a good thing. But I'm going to put this as my last 5-star prediction because I really want this book. I really want to love this book. I'm not sure if this is still the final book in the series or if he's planning to add a 4th, but either way, definitely check out The Dandelion Dynasty and The Grace of Kings if you have not heard of or read this series yet. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, especially the first book, because it has this very sweeping epic historical scope, but I still think it's a really underappreciated series. Anyway, I feel like I'm getting on too much of a tangent. So these were 7 of my 5-star predictions. Let me know if you've read any of these, if you think I'll like them, or if any of these are books that you want to read or that you're looking forward to, let me know down in the comments. And thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me.